ladies and gentlemen, in the palatial studios. As we know that I can't be outdone by Streets and his man Nook, so I've done my own, as you can see. Could I
With the
look?
throne,
Barry in the
massive chair
corner.
envy.
Look in the corner. Corona guy. Big E. Neon sign
Yes,
probably going to go there. My unicorns
nice.
and mermaids, etc., etc. Also got this. Look, look. Aztec death whistle. That. Boom. Why not?
What more could you ask
What
for?
more? Covered. How are you, geezer?
I am riding high, mate. It's been a fucking excellent week
Been
of
a big week, isn't it?
guests, and we've still got one to launch. It looks like we've got a great week lined up next week.
Yeah.
I'm fucking riding high, son.
How much fun was Tyler?
Mate, what a fucking good lad.
I'm telling
What
you,
a good lad.
he is the geezer from Game of Thrones without the pansexuality thing. I think he's strictly heterosexual, right? But that's him. If he could play an instrument or do a little bit of poetry of some sort, he's got that covered. What an absolute gentleman.
And savage, boy.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Exactly. Like,
Skills.
I loved that chat. We had a right laugh. That was a powerful laugh. I feel like he's my new friend. Hello, internet friend. How you been? What you been up to?
Just work, mate. Back at it.
Yeah.
Work and, homework, watching fights. It's a hard life,
Miserable, isn't it?
Yeah. What are
I'm
you gonna
actually
do?
back at work
Someone's gonna...
tomorrow for the first time since March, like in-person sessions in the gym.
First time since March.
I mean, I've been doing
Shit.
stuff at home. I've been doing it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
online, and I've been doing
Yeah.
people come into the
That's gonna
garages.
be a shock to the system, mate. The
Well, the thing
travel.
is, right, is that the particular gym I work out of charges on percentage, which is Liberty's, and then now we've got to do our own cleaning and all shit like that, and it's like, well,
Add that into the salary, mate. Now I'm a
that's what I'm
cleaner.
saying. Like, there should be some sort of like, at least a conversation to reduce that percentage a little bit, right? Not fucking like I'm not precious, but
Yeah.
this is a transactional affair. Like this is I'm not here. I'm not here because I'm like connected. It just works for me. Like what I mean. Anyway, this weekend has had a delightful trove of fistings, including a decent MMA card that honestly I haven't had time to even look at. But I saw some like Michelle
Yes.
Waterson had a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Gotta
didn't
love
even look
her,
at it.
mate.
Yeah,
Gotta
she's
love her.
powerful, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's powerful.
Um, yeah, we should probably add that because I didn't get a chance to
Me
watch that.
either.
And I'm actually super pumped that we're covering our first bare knuckle event. Ties in well with the old Tyler, and hopefully next week, one of the great
Yeah,
coaches of the bare knuckle world.
isn't
So,
it? Yeah, we done Bare Knuckle FC 12. It's actually a good show, you know.
mate,
Like they put on a good show. Like I'm not gonna mug off BKB.
no,
That's not what I'm about. But there's so the way that I would describe it is like Bare Knuckle FC puts on a UFC-esque production. BKB kind of puts on a Cage Warriors-esque production.
yeah,
There's a definitive step up in just producers and everything that's gone into it. Even down to I think they got like to sing the national anthem for one of the songs. Someone
yeah.
who placed fifth in American Idol. Boom, gang shit, gang shit.
Um, what else? Was I gonna say? Yeah, to the point where we were just going to cover sort of main ones, and the whole card just sucked me in. I couldn't stop
Yeah,
watching, and that app is genius,
that's what I'm saying, right? $5.99 a month or 87 notes a year. It's got it all. You download that shit so it's offline. It's powerful. I
mate.
was impressed with that app.
Proper, and we're
Yeah.
not. This is not a plug. We're not getting paid for this shit. It's just genuinely like
Yeah,
that's
it's just a
value,
good
man.
it's just a
Five
good
ninety nine a
app.
month, and you got access to all the previous events too.
Yeah.
Download it offline, makes your tube
Yeah.
journey go like that.
Yeah. Between the Sky Sports that I now pay for begrudgingly, a website that someone gave me, which I don't pay for begrudgingly at all and use it frequently, and now the BKB Bare Knuckle app. Big boy.
Yeah,
Um, I only watched the two main ones because there was just so much this weekend. So much. Um, Hector Lombard, first of all, Imagine seeing him opposite you in them gladiator shorts, built
Mate.
like as he is. I don't even know what weight he fights at anymore. It's like it's just Hector weight, isn't it? Like imagine that. It's a terrifying prospect. And you know what? Kendall Grove is no joke. He's like 50 fight career, Ultimate Fighter winner, or
Six foot
placed
six as well, because when he came in, you're like,
6'6".
fuck, he's huge.
He's an enormous man. Mate,
No
Hector.
slouch, man. He won the Ultimate Fighter season 3. Like you said, almost 50 fights, but that was a tough day at the office.
Yeah, Hector did what he was supposed to do in the first time around, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, what they kind of wanted him to do first time around, he did this time, which
Yeah.
was that he just come out and he just was like, I know do this for long, man. Bum. You
That
know?
was properly a massacre.
Yeah.
So, like, Kendall Grove, he's already been in the BKB a bit. He won his first fight. It was Bruce Abramski by unanimous decision. His next outing, he got knocked out by Marcel Stamps. And then Hector just, I mean, he went to town on
Hector
him.
killed
That
the
was,
guy, didn't he?
yeah.
Hector beat him like he come in through his bedroom. Like
Yeah.
he attacked him is what he did.
3 knockdowns in that first round. Just fucking,
I wonder how weird it is in a circle ring.
yeah, man.
It's got to be strange, right?
With the clinching that they allow as well, you know, there's fucking
Proper
nowhere
old
to go.
school, isn't it? It's proper turn of the century, kind of round the back of the head and coof.
You ain't pivoted out of that shit,
Nah.
man.
Nah.
Fight your way out, son.
But Hector looks serious.
Yeah. Kendall did keep moving to his power hand. I mean, he's a fucking
Yeah.
vet, but Lombard can bang. He's got
Yeah.
no gloves,
Yeah.
and he was moving to it. I was like, ooh,
Tell you what, them like in BKB, how they wrap their hands looks like a hand wrap without knuckles, right?
Yeah.
That bare knuckle FC one looks like a fucking red and blue cast that's just got their knuckles like impossibly squished out. Like there's millimeters of skin between the wrap and the I'd like to see how they do it, because that's like it looks like they can barely even make a fist.
And that's a terrifying thought, because then you're getting all the hand protection. Because normally that's the limiting factor when you go on bare knuckle, is you're going to bust up your hand. So, but when
Good
you've
for
got
our new best friend though, isn't it?
oh mate, properly, when you got all the protection, but then you can just like they're feeling the knuckle. That's a tough day. And I mean, some of the faces like tell the story. There was some messes made.
Yeah. And then Thiago Alves made his debut against Lane, top of the bill, right? Thiago, when I was like deep in depression and like 112 kilos and fatty fat, when I was enormous, right? When I was a cube of a man, I had a picture of Thiago on one of his weigh-ins on my desk in my IT career. And every day I looked at that and I was just like, I'm a fat cunt. Until I got my shit together. Thiago Alves shamed me into actually getting into better shape. Now,
Positively.
yeah, if there's... I don't want to get into that. Here's a question for you, right? You've called this on now, right?
Oh, fuck it. We could always edit this out,
Yeah,
guys.
this can always be ding, ding, dinged, right? Listen. We've all seen lower and mid-tier fitness people whose genetics do not let them go to the top of the game, right?
Yep.
Genetics isn't about equality. We've all seen them go down the other route, let themselves go, be a lot happier, more power to them,
Yep.
start shouting about the Bopo vibes, all power, all good.
Yeah.
Yeah? Has there ever been a one on the other side? Has there ever been like a bigger person, a hyper-nourished, as we will say, that has come down and got their passport to Afghanistan that is also patronizing the Bopo movement? Because I bet there fucking isn't.
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much a one-way street. You get crucified when you go the other way.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
this
It's
is what I'm saying.
It's
right?
almost like allowed to, so people can bust their ass, try and get shredded and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's totally fine to take the piss out of that and say, oh, but you know, they're not healthy and da 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 da. you can't go the other way. You just gotta.
Yeah. Anyway, Thiago, I thought looked spectacular. Okay,
Fucking
he
right, he
looked.
did.
He looked. I tell you what, he looked like. He looked like a boxer fighting in bare knuckle. He had. I mean, ATT have a bare
Yeah,
knuckle division, which was
bare knuckle
shocking,
division,
right?
which is genius.
Yeah. Well, I would assume that the ATT might even have something to do with bare knuckle FC. It's Florida based. ATT is Florida based. That geezer's got cachet.
Yeah,
But Thiago looked really good. Like 3-2.
because his
Not.
kicks are off the chain, and when he shoots,
He said that in
it's
his
like
interview. He was like, I was thinking a little bit that I was going to throw a low kick and stuff like that. He looked wicked. He looked wicked. But what he looked
fantastic.
he the go-to defense in bare knuckle for the new ones, right? They're used to having some glove and they do cover up a little bit. But I think whatever he had done in training with the bare knuckle crew them let him know that the second that he's in defensive, he fires back. And he did that. He was
Yep.
cracking some body shots. He was whipping some straights down to the belly. I thought a split decision was a bit strong, but 3-2 in rounds, fine. 3-2. I can make the argument that Lane got that round and got that one. He got sliced up in the old eyeball, didn't he?
He did. One thing I have to say, and like Lane looked. Speaking of looking good, he looked fantastic.
Yeah, he did.
He had a tendency to bull rush in and just kind of come in swinging. He fought really well, and to me, like I was gripped that whole fight. I was watching. I'm like, fuck, who are they going to give this to? Because I think it really came down to the last round. So when they were said split, I actually thought fair enough, and I was genuinely like seeing which way, because he was pulling back so well, like. Alves was going for that right hand, and he was pulling back so well, making him miss, and he was just touching him up with it. So the first two, I could see going to Lane, and then Alves really started coming on his own in that last round. He really
that last round as well. At the end, he kind of did the grapple pull down, big right uppercut, and he didn't look like he was hurt, because them bare knuckle boys are just something else, aren't they?
Oh mate,
yeah, I'm getting into it.
So just while we're
you watched the whole thing, you savage.
Yeah. So mate, you will love the Joe Elmore Tom Showoff. I'm pretty sure I didn't say that right, but yeah. Anyway, that
can I just say that there's a few names on our sweep up today?
Yeah, I properly swerved one. I did you dirty there when you were like, "Have you seen this fight?" I was like, I didn't watch it because I didn't want to have to say it on this podcast and embarrass myself for 10 minutes going, Ev.
I think I can say it. Enough.
All right.
Enough.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll just sign it. But yeah, if you look behind yourself, your man, he's straight off there, mustached up. He looks square out of the 1800s, boy. He looks like our new logo.
Can we also say that homage to Mike? He's fighting with a hard on.
Mate, and so he fought Elmore, who came in hands down, chin high, and I was just like, oh fuck, man,
that's wild.
There's no gloves. Now, Showoff looked fantastic, balanced, controlled, everything like that. Elmore has cannons for hands, I've since found out, because every single round he put him down. So even though, and like, so when you look at them, that Showoff, his face looked completely fine.
Yeah.
But he got dropped every single round. Elmore looked like a lawnmower ran over his face.
Just bizarre.
But oh my god, just these bangers. The first one was a bit of like a flash knockdown, round two, and then they were big shots by the end, putting it down, and then they just went for it at the end, because he realized he needed to put him down or something to get back, because even though he wasn't in trouble, he was losing the fight because he kept getting dropped down. So they're just swinging for a fucking amazing fight, really good fight. So I'd recommend for that one. And in the end, obviously Elmore gets the win because he dropped him 5 fucking times.
Yeah, it's a tough one to get that, isn't it? I like that they're also they're all part of the Florida State Commish. That's like the BKB here falls in a grey zone, doesn't it? It's not part of the British Board. There it is. It's part of the State Athletic Commission, which is good.
It really is, because then it's going to be governed. And I like too that it's on BoxRec too. The bare knuckle fights. I like they're on BoxRec.
Got a little question for you though.
Go on,
because Thiago weighed in at 179 and he looked like the Thiago that flying kneed Matt Hughes face off. And he was fighting down at 155 for a bit.
Yeah, I think those days are gone.
Do you think maybe he's using the IVs again to rehydrate? Just wondering.
Yeah.
Because I'm all for it.
Oh,
I'm all for it because, listen, you just got to Google Thiago Alves weigh-in and you're just like, that geezer knows what's up. Like, there's a reason that he is called the Pitbull.
100%, man. It's like Rumble Johnson. When you look back at...
Oh, my God.
What?
How the fuck did he make 170? How? Did you know a fun fact about Rumble Johnson? That he can pull the head off of a nut? Just let that sit for a minute.
Pull what?
The head, like a bolt.
No shit.
He can pull the head off of it.
Fuck yeah, now.
That's a good old country boy right there. Fuck that.
Yeah, when his name started getting bashed about with the bare knuckle, I was like,
terrifying.
Oh man, there's going to be a body.
Terrifying.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
So he's just an ambassador or something, and like...
Well, he was there like security, wasn't he, for Paulie and Lobov?
Yeah, that's right.
He was just like, oh, come on. What a G. But did you watch the female fight? I couldn't do it.
I did. So, in between... was there a random sound going on there? I had my phone on a button. Anyway, before that one, there was Warren versus Dyer, they were called. Okay. And that looked like a proper, like, no disrespect to him, but just the style of fight was like a rugby punch-up. It looked like if they were wearing vests, they would have been lifted the fucking hood over and just... Yeah, they were big. I think they were like 195 or something.
Big boys.
Yeah. Warren dropped twice in the second. That were big punches, and he did really well not to get dropped at the end of the round because he was just getting railed on, like brilliant. Big shots. But it was weird. Like the first round, it looked proper, just like scrap. And then that Dyer really came along in the second round, and what happened? Warren did catch Dyer though when he was doing a side. He kind of like sidestepped straight onto a shot and like, oh fuck, is he going to turn this round? But then no, Dyer just pressed him against the corner, mushed him, and he stopped him in the third. I'm not sure their weight. The other ones were 195, but these were big fuckers. They were tall.
I don't really pay attention to the bare knuckle weights because they seem fictional.
Yeah, it's also too. I think it's a bit like in theory you should be this, but
yeah. In
like
principle. I think it's kind of like up to.
Yeah.
Because Thiago was supposed to fight at 185, but they were both 179.
So they're like, have at it. Yeah. And like Tyler said, he went and he's basically a stone lighter and he's like, meh, he's still getting in there, so whatever.
We're here now, aren't we?
Yeah, there was Hunt versus Lozano, which, I mean, they moved well considering they were big boys, especially Hunt. Just watch the fight, go to the third round. Because, you know, I'm not saying it's not great. Watch the fight, but, mate, the knockout is spectacular.
Es spectacular? See?
Hunt literally runs across the squared circle, boom, and just took a soul. Like, it was huge.
I will say this for listeners that enjoy the podcast, that are going to look into these things, because a lot of people didn't even know that bare knuckle existed. After the Tyler thing, people messaged me about it, right? And I sent them the epic highlight video that you made and bits like that. If you are squeamish, bare knuckle and so the you know, bare knuckle would be the most bloody of them. All combat sports have the risk of being bloody. Bare knuckle
and Lethway.
Yeah, and Lethway. Didn't want to talk about Lethway because it gives me nightmares. But it's going to be bloody. It's quite gruesome. You're talking about like bone on bone. There's no padding. There's nothing. People get cut to shreds. People get lumped up. Everything.
Massey loves the boxing, but when I was like, oh, do you want to, and she saw just one and she's like, I can't watch. That's a fair warning. Like people, I mean, people are getting punched with no protection on their hand. It's bone on bone. Yeah. They get messed up sometimes.
Absolutely. You got anything more for bare knuckle?
I was just then going to touch on that women's fight because
I wanted to try and get you away from it, to be honest.
Hey,
was it Yas Queen?
They got equality there because they fight the exact amount of minutes in the round and the same
Really?
amount of rounds. So unlike boxing, where we were talking about the two, all the rounds are 2 minutes. It was Callie Cutler versus Christine Ferreira.
Yeah.
It was just like a bit of a power mismatch because both were landing. But that Ferreira just by the end, it was the last one was kind of, where they do that uppercut which turns them away and they're almost like trying to and just a beat down. So that I think that was in the second round or something. But Cutler did well, but it was a power mismatch. Like she was touching her and it wasn't doing much, and then she was just sitting down more and more. And but the final card was Reggie Barnett Jr. versus Abdiel Vasquez, which was a southpaw versus southpaw.
Is there any way that Reggie Barnett Jr. wasn't black? Because that is the most American Southern black name out there.
If you would have put money on it, you would have won, good sir.
Yes.
He was indeed black. And Central/South American, I'm going to imagine, for Velasquez.
Yeah.
Not exactly sure where, but Barnett moves to 5-1 in bare knuckle. His only loss was to the undefeated Johnny Bedford, who in his last fight beat Charles Crazy Horse Bennett, who we 100% have to do a special on because that is one crazy motherfucker. Yeah. And Velasquez dropped to 3-3. He lost this fight to Barnett. He lost to Johnny Bedford as well. And then he had a war. You guys might have seen it, Dat Nguyen. I hope I said that somewhat right. But anyway, within the first 20 seconds, they both knocked each other down. Brilliant. It was a sick fight.
Brilliant.
And then
just a firefight.
Yeah, firefight. And what happened? Yeah, it went to the points. Velasquez got dropped in the second and fifth. Really good, technical fight. I was really impressed with the level of technical boxing for that, because we discussed that with Tyler. You might have the misconception that they're just going to be swinging, but fuck, man,
it's a different sport. Like you can't. Yeah. The more and more you watch it, it is a different sport.
100%, and a lot of things that fly, like Dave Ledoux, which hopefully that would be incredible to speak to him. But he's just saying small things like when you're covering, a normal cover leaves such a big opening for when there's a glove, it'll cushion it, but when there's no glove, it gets straight through. So you have to be so tight with everything you do, and you got to slip and so much more. You can't be afford to take shots. You've got to make them all miss. And so the little adjustments in their technique is dirty. Loved it. Great show. Great card.
Question.
Yes.
I mean, I sent you the link from Sky News about, national lockdown would be nuclear, but let's be honest, it's going a little bit sketchy, right? Should this happen again and events all get pulled, which I doubt they do, how do you feel about us doing another type of episode which is dedicated to a style? Like Kyokushin, because that's bizarre, right? When you start looking at the varieties of even just the main ones, karate, you look at Kyokushin and you're like, that is a bizarre art where you're not allowed to punch to the face, but you can kick him in the face. It's like the most intense bare knuckle body sparring, but with a heel in your face.
Yeah, and I like the ones you can't punch, but you can totally palm strike him in the face.
You know what I mean? Like there's so many different forms out there. I reckon we could have a little bit of fun going into them when you and me get locked down and we've opened up our sanctuary where we can feed and shelter and bathe our loyal followers if they pledge themselves. I'm not sensitive about being schmedium, but the only person that's allowed to be taller than me in mine and Streets' commune is Streets. Everyone else has to crouch around me. That's fact.
Cow toes all round.
Yeah, just crouch around me, and then we're all right. We've got no problem. Anyway,
we'll just carry around the statue of you, mate, everywhere.
It's fine. I mean, that's this. It's given. It's a given. Should we go UK?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we go UK, then we do the little bit that was in the States, because I didn't really watch that much of the States. And
then we've got a big news to discuss as well.
Yeah, big boy news. Let's go to the head, right? Because Yarde is a star. Okay.
Yep.
He looks the part. He speaks well. He is bodied up, and
that he is.
Let's be frank. if that fight against Kovalev was in the UK, he would be a world champion. A ref would have come in and stopped it, much like the ref didn't stop it in Russia, right? He's quality.
He's quality. I'm taking nothing away from Kovalev though, because
No,
that was
but you know what I mean. Like if you have that fight elsewhere, a local ref stops that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they don't want to have that on their hands, much like the ref on that.
Well, to be fair, that happened in this fight. Like I feel like the stoppage
he jumped
was
in a
very
little
much
bit double quick, didn't he?
Get that KO. Yeah.
But that was only going one way, right? He was offering nothing back. He was
that was one, because I'm all for fighter safety. You know what I mean? But you can also because
you couldn't let him get
happened
up
in one of the bare knuckle, wasn't it? Was Kendall that was disputing and it's like, you were done, mate. You know, there's no point disputing that. But this one, he like Spellman was just like, I'm totally fine. It was a bit like, I thought they did Takam dirty when he fought AJ. He deserved to go out and shoot. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was fine.
He's never been stopped before, so that everyone knows that. So maybe you give him a little bit of leeway there. But the only thing I can say is that he did go down in a he went down on all fours, didn't he? He went down on all fours as a product of accumulated damage, and maybe the ref shit himself and went, I've got to stop this because this didn't. Maybe to him it didn't look like a normal drop. I mean, and to be fair, Yarde was piecing him up.
Yeah.
He really was. Like he was jabbing him and then just whipping 2, 3, 4 hooks on him and just like laughing him off.
Yeah,
he looked wicked. He looked absolutely fantastic.
That's sick because the thing I love with Yarde is it always looks like he's trying something new. Like obviously he has his style, he's got his feeling, he used that pouring jab, but the way he fights, sometimes he'll be on that front foot, sometimes he's sitting back. It always looks like he's using the rounds to learn something. That's sick. When he started to let go on that right hand, and it was right straight, right hook, just fucking battered him. Once that momentum was gone, whew.
My mate used to be like quite senior at Shake Shack UK, and they did some sort of event with Yarde.
Right.
And what you would do, you would go into Shake Shack and you would say their name, and they would basically give you free food, right? Yarde was doing that on like 4,500, 5,000 calorie meals after training, like absolute animal. Like just going in, just dropping 5. I'll have like 6 double burgers, please, and a large fries. Cheers. Still
and
shredded.
An extra ab grows.
Yeah, exactly. just gets an extra edge of trap. Okay, there's no way he ain't got a fucking unit on him, is there? There's just none. There's simply none.
Certified.
Right? None. He's so unbelievably confident that he just can't. Anyway, I reckon that's got a set of traps on it as well. Just edged at the base.
That is a terrifying mental image that I know is going to haunt me when I try and go.
Yeah, we might even try and do a Photoshop for you. But he looked wicked, right? And now they need to do the Battle of Britain, don't they? They need to get Buatsi.
Mate, that Buatsi fight is going to be sick.
Yeah, has to. But again, there's so many of these fights that deserve to be stadium fights, not only for the crowd, but for the fighters and the cash that comes with it. What happens, dude?
Yeah.
Fuck. Denzel Bentley versus Hefferon. Now, Denzel is a good mate of a good mate of mine who speaks very highly of him, and it was a draw. It was a good fight. Basically, it was Denzel had the first bit. Hefferon took over in the middle. Fairly even at the end. I wasn't angry with the draw.
Okay.
Decent fight. He was throwing. I think the only reason that like Hefferon come out like a man possessed in the 10th round, right, and really tried to even it out. I reckon if he hadn't have done that, they probably would have edged it for Bentley.
Right.
But it was a good fight. Like he is slick. He is awkward. He throws those like kung fu punches that are just going straight through the guard. Like he Larry calls them slim fit. They're those. Like he's done like hours and hours and hours with Laz. He speaks really highly of him. Like it was a good fight to watch. Good. Bentley got properly cracked and managed to hold on. Hefferon got dropped, I think, in the second with a surprise, like out of nowhere. Like it was a shot he didn't see. It was a shot he didn't expect, and it just come out and just caught him and dropped him. Good fight. Well worth a little look. Then on that York Hall card which was, they've done a good job of making that look like a studio, haven't they?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
There was 2 fights with up-and-comers fighting 2 journeymen, and I use the term journeyman with no disrespect because one of them had a record of 7 wins, 103 defeats, and 2 draws. What are you doing? And another one, 15 wins, 207 defeats, and 12 draws. Find a new sport.
Yeah, mate. I mean, we were discussing. There's that Christian Lake who, to mine this is the. I don't want to say. It's the worst record, Mac. Let's not sugarcoat it, right? 12 wins, 279 losses, but only 5 knockouts, which comparatively, that's fucking not bad because he's had 300 fights. He's only been sparked 5 times. But
I mean, that Quinn geezer who was fighting, Jahazanembzeb, God knows, Amin Jahazanembzeb, I'm calling him Amin was his name.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He threw 4 right hands the entire fight. Everything else was a jab. It was like he didn't know. It was like he was told jabs, and that's it. Right? The other geezer, Macaulay, at least had a little go against that. Fuck having that as your debut fight, right? You're 0-0 and you've got someone with literally all of the fights ever. Like, there's no way that he hasn't seen it all before. And they're not old, these boys. What must they do? They must just fight every other week, providing they don't get cut or knocked out.
Yeah. And that's why we'll do a whole thing on the journey, but there's a whole thing to it too. And it's kind of like, if you knock them out, you kind of got to pay them more because then they're out of it for the weeks.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, because if you look on their record, they'll basically be scheduled for the next 4 fights, because it's like, I'm going to fight every week, every second week, because they're not, like we discussed, they're not getting paid much. They're just doing it very fucking often. So it's an accumulation effect. And if you get money in pounds and you're going back somewhere else, it goes along. It is a tough way to make a living.
Yeah.
Fucking tough way to make a living.
Yeah. Fucking hell. But yeah, that was it for the UK. I reckon, Yarde is a special one, right?
Yeah, he's got all the makings, all the attributes you could possibly want, like fucking to have that size and the speed, and then the reflexes. Like he moves fucking well.
He really does, and he doesn't look like he doesn't have a crack on him, does he?
Yeah,
like he's just a fun fighter to watch.
And it looks like he's keeping it together. He's not gonna, get the entourage and fucking lose his shit like AB style or something like that.
Like if he was gonna get rid of the crew, he would have done that already because he had a lot of pressure. Didn't need to get rid of them after the Kovalev fight. In the States, there was a prospect fight, which was an 8-0 versus an 8-0, which was Flores versus Rodriguez, which was a nice little fight. Honestly.
I missed that one. I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
But I love these. I love that we're getting this. This is the, good thing in the lockdown. We've discussed it in previous episodes where that's risky, man. 8-0, 8-0 when they're bona fide. Not there's an 8-0 against someone's and 8-0 against, we've managed to find this guy that beat 8 schleps and.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it was a good little fight. Flores was way more aggressive. He caught Rodriguez, I think it was the 5th round, and it was a TKO. It was one of the ones where the legs completely stiffened, and he done the electric boogaloo wobble, and then the ref jumped in and just was like, "No, son, no." Yeah,
damn.
That was that. Like I said, there was so many fights this weekend.
Was it Corona versus Income worthy?
No, it wasn't Corona versus Income worthy. You need someone properly ironed for that one, or someone that has sustained an absolute battering before you can really get away with the Corona versus Income. There is a... Go on.
Fuck, sorry. I totally just forgot. Just on the bare knuckle. That reminded me when you said the sustained battering. I missed it was the first fight on the card, but there was Jared Grant versus Joshua Boudreau, and
Love it when you roll.
Me, he got knocked down 3 times in the first round and then 3 times in the second round. It was fucking savagery.
That's a tough night, isn't it?
It was Grant's debut, and man, he's only 22 years old, which also brings me to another thing. it's fucking good to see this because like people in combat sports think that bare knuckle is kind of where people, it's like the graveyard of
Yeah,
combatants, you know what I mean? Once they've had their career in something else,
yeah.
they end up at bare knuckle. To see people starting off in that is fucking terrifying, but also
That is pretty terrifying, isn't it? Like, it was scary enough when you saw like the Rory McDonalds coming through and the Yair Rodriguez's, and you're like, these lot have just been raised on MMA
yeah.
as a sport, as a complete package.
What do you mean you're not a striker or a grappler? You can
Yeah,
do all
no, no,
that shit
no,
the
no. I'm a
same.
mixed martial
Damn.
artist. Yeah, terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Do you know what helps with terror though? CBD oil. CBD oil is
Slip
what
that in like a
we are
pinky, mate.
fueled.
Go.
Yeah, slip them in like the DMs that I've been slipping to everyone this week to get more guests. We get our CBD oil from xbrain.co.uk. They are our Viking brothers. They are our ride and die. And because of the pandemic, because of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation constantly trying to vaccinate all of us at all times, you know, let's be honest, you're going to go to the supermarket by the end of the month. You're going to have to put a QR code in just to go and get some fucking bread. That's stressful. I would suggest that not only to keep yourself, streets have the disclaimer ready, not only to keep yourself corona COVID free, take CBD oil, because medically proven to work, streets, no medical advice, blah, 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 blah. But it's also going to be
Not a
quite
doctor.
stressful. Yeah, exactly. Not a legit endorsement. It's going to be quite stressful dealing with the draconian measures that are coming in by Emperor Boz, etc., etc. When you got two old prime ministers coming out saying, this is going tits up, this. That's also when you need to have a couple of sprays of the CBD, chill out, and just hope for the best, right? xbrain.co.uk will sort you right out. Citrus flavored. Citrus. I've said this before. It does not taste like a moody teenager listening to grime on the bus. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. What? Also, 30% reduction due to the pandemic because our boys are very kind. Coffee Combat will save 30% of anything X-Brain branded. Doesn't work on promo packs, doesn't work on the On It supplements, but it does work on anything X-Brain. So you will save a calm 30%. If someone increased their prices 30%, you'd be livid. If someone's giving you a 30% reduction, you should be celebrating. Coffee Combat, xbrain.co.uk. Streets.
My man, get this man in fucking office. This is the guy you want talking for people.
Listen, I want to just address people at the minute. We are taking on sponsors now. We are at that stage where we're about to onboard the second one. X-Brain will always be our ride and die. If you want to sponsor us, message me or Streets. I'm at RobXPT. He is at Ian Streets with a Z at the end, right? We have a full fee schedule ready for you, and we can scale it up from just the history eps in a month to every ep that we do to all eps, including YouTube, Spotify, blah, 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 blah. We have a full schedule. Hit us up. If you want to be part of this movement, which honestly is like a lava flow, anything that gets in its way is getting torched. I'm seeing people that I know had a little crack at a podcast about 6, 7, 8 months ago, refiring it up off the back of our success. However, you can't manufacture the brilliance and the chemistry and the beautiful bald smoothness of Streets and I. Right? Look at that. Look. That's a semen stain, that. Look at that. That's the geezer from the Corona memes with the giant rig. This is a skull given to me by a Wiccan, and it's blessed with shamanic Merlin energy. Of course it is. Now, if you don't have these factors, don't bother.
Destined for failure.
Don't bother. There we are. Like,
See,
rate,
let's
download,
be real.
subscribe.
Message Rob for all business inquiries because he's the businessman.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Fuck. That's terrifying for everyone, that. Yeah. Anyone that fancies a little sponsorship, give us a shout. It starts at $250 per month, and we have a full scale. To be fair, our numbers are fucking skyrocketing.
Whoop, whoop.
We have Streets and I have already discussed tributes and trophies, which are
Gotta be
going to
done.
be undisputed mini belts when we hit certain download thresholds. And I think what we should do is that we do like you and I decide which belt we would like to have the least, and that's the lowest one. So we'll
I
do
like that.
brown, black, green, red. Yeah. Obviously, the green is obviously the best one, and red is always the second. And then you have the WBA, WBO equivalent.
Yeah,
You'd be thrilled if you were world champion, but you don't really want to be the global regular Wednesday champ, yeah. But yeah. Anyway, back to reality. In the States, there was a fisting, a fight between two boxer punchers where I messaged Streets and I said, you probably do need to watch this one, right? The thuds. The only reason I'm talking and delaying is because I don't want to have a crack at saying their names.
That's the reason I didn't watch the fight.
Yeah,
I ain't saying this shit.
Yeah. It's a Lithuanian and a Canadian, but you know the Zewski is one of them. That's easy. Versus Kavaliauskas.
Just trail off as you say it, and it'd be like
Lithuanian.
Yeah.
His name was like Edgar. Anyway, right, lost to Crawford. This was his comeback. He was thudding. His jab was going. It was horrible, and the stoppage also horrible, and the mauling just before the round before it.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Like you owed him money.
Yeah. He started to really sit down on his shots around round 4. They were like having a jab off. He wasn't throwing any straights behind it, no power shots. Then he started attacking the body and like the thuds of the body shots. And he had those Venom gloves on, which I can only assume are quote unquote puncher's gloves, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they were thudding out nice. And then he cracked him with a big right uppercut, then beat the fuck out of him. And then literally to start the next round, he was like, well, respect for getting out of that round, but also have this. And then he coofed him with a vicious right hook. And he just went down and the ref went,
that's enough.
Done. Right? Kavaliauskas, I'm just going to say Kavaliauskas, whatever. Kavaliauskas?
It's close.
Kavaliauskas, something like that.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
It sounds pretty similar to Kavaliauskas. But yeah,
it's
that
the
was
first name
fight.
combo too. The whole thing is just like, fuck.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the things we struggle with the most on this podcast is some of the names. What do we do?
We'll hire some, people rather than interpreters.
Yeah.
And cue Lithuania.
Let's be honest. If people are looking for like intricate, in-depth name pronunciation, dictation, and technicalities, go somewhere else. Right? It's not for you. That's all of the fights that I have personally. Is there anything else you wanted to add on there, my bruv?
Not on the fight side.
Oh, news time.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. First of all, you sent me a picture of Conor McGregor in skin-coloured underwear on the back of a horse. Gang shit, right?
Yeah, mate.
Sure.
Getting himself in a bit of trouble in the old Corsica. So, I mean, this could be... So, like, the reports I've seen is he definitely... Well, not definitely. Allegedly, but kind of more on the this happened side of things, showed his junk to some married chick in Corsica.
What's wrong with that?
But then there's also talk of potential sexual assault that went down. So it goes from...
Don't condone that, though.
Yeah.
Do you remember that picture when Conor probably made it to fame, where he was at a dinner table with Rita Ora and she was 100% holding his shaft while they're having their picture taken?
Yeah.
Which is brazen, weren't it? It was brazen.
Full disclosure, I didn't know that was Rita Ora, but yes, I remember the picture.
How dare you? Rita Ora is my business icon. I want to make a living with my mouth like her. That's all I want. I've told you this.
That
Anyway,
tagline will never lose
it
that.
will
We
never
are
go.
rent boys for life, mate. Fucking hell.
But yeah, yeah, she knows what she's up to and she knows what she does. Um, I can just imagine that Connor's just on the back of the steed and just lets it out. Would you want? Also, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you don't belong in Corsica. Like Corsica's like proper old money chills, isn't it? That's where like the French cash goes.
Especially not with your cock and balls out. But yeah, so I mean, listen, I wasn't there. I've heard. All I'm doing is reading it through the. So I have fuck all to say on the matter, and I'm not going to judge on because that's a very large spectrum from
Yeah.
just getting his tackle out to potentially do. I mean, the sexual assault seems to be getting it's mentioned
Oh,
less. So
true story. Went to Tesco's yesterday, right? Got a letter through the door saying you got done for sexual assault because I picked up a bag of like fucking bagels and they didn't like the way that on CCTV my finger was just that too close to the hole. Like you can get in trouble for nearly anything at the minute.
yeah,
Like it's wild.
Yeah, big time. And I mean, also, apparently this occurred in a public place, so that they're checking cameras and that sort of stuff. So obviously we're not condoning it, but
But like,
it just so far the information doesn't lead itself to too severe a thing. I think he got his junk out, but even that, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's what's in the news at the minute.
on the back of a horse,
It,
you've had a good
it's just
time.
like
You're
it's
a
like you
wild
remember
dude.
Louis C.K. when he lost his entire career because he
Oh, he's back now,
Jack.
though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's back now, but like
Yeah.
it was all he just like jacking off in front of people. It's like that's
Yeah.
very high risk, low reward. Like that's
Yeah.
niche shit. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like because he's like, well, I didn't hurt anyone, but yeah, but
The problem is always the
find a
intent,
corner,
isn't
bro.
it? And the power.
Yeah,
That's always the
exactly.
problem when they're always
And he's like,
doing
I
it
told him
with.
we're going to do it. It's like, yeah, but
Yeah, but you're Louis C.K., you're X person, and they're so many levels below you that you can make or break them. There's always an implication, like I mean, it's weird
yeah.
as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like if you want to rub it out, but I love his defense is just like I like to jack off, I don't like to be alone, and it's like fucking hell, mate. But
I mean, honestly, transparent, sure, it's a risk.
big risk.
Yeah, that's why you have to respect people like Zac Efron, right? Because you know for a fact his DMs will take
Oh,
most of us to a dark place. But he seems like it just seems alright. Like he seems to
yeah.
just
Have you
hold
seen
his
him
shit
traveling around the
together.
world with that
Yeah,
fucking? Yeah,
just with that weird hippie geezer who's 100% like he's been part of at least 2 or 3 cults, hasn't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
Factual,
Yeah. He's
factual.
been part for one of them eco cults that, the purification happens via semen and like he's 100% done that. Whoever that geezer is, and I reckon Zach's going to go down that route at some point as well and more power to him. You'll have like a Daily Mail article with it all blurred out where Zach will be absolutely off his box, like making clay shapes out of his own dick. Like just mong. I can't wait. Anywho, Better Biev, his
Ah,
fight's been postponed from October to December. He's broken his rib. Imagine breaking Better Biev's rib. Like
yeah.
that's one of the that's a werewolf of a human, isn't it?
Like only undefeated world champ with 100% knockout ratio. Like
Yeah,
that is fucking.
yeah.
But Tobiev is.
He's a
What broke his
haunting
rib?
man.
Was it a fucking wrecking ball or something like
Yeah.
that? That wasn't a human body part that did that. That
Well,
dude is.
well, this is what you have to wonder, right? There's like he's part of that sort of Eastern Bloc Khabib, Triple G, Better Biev. Like
Savage.
they're beyond savage. You've seen Olympic bar flipping it.
Yep.
What you doing? You've seen the press ups. Like he's just an animal. But he's one of those few people, like when he's in like weigh-in fight shape, obviously he puts on a little bit of size in between fights. But when he's in fight shape, his body is primal. Like he looks
Yeah.
like you would expect a caveman, a shaven ape to look like.
Yeah, he
He's
looks like
just
Zangief.
yeah, exactly, just a terrifying man. Horrible.
I want to hear them punches with no crowd.
Oh, oh. It's a good fight with Alex Vostek, though, wasn't it? Like, gutted
Yeah.
that he lost, but he was. It was a good fight. He done a really good job chopping him down.
Done
Good
well
fight.
with that name too.
I
There you
know.
go.
I know. Some of the ones I can get, I'll surprise you. The only other
It's when they
beef.
start getting the V's and shit involved. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
for me, it's when it's like this Kavaliauskas, whatever,
let's not
right?
go back
I mean,
there.
it's spelled Kavaliaus. Now, someone's going to listen to that and go, "Well, obviously, it's just
Yeah, what are you having a hard time
Kalavilas."
with?
You're like, but it's not because it's Kavaliauskas. All
I'm
right,
swerving it. I'm swerving it.
sure.
The K-Man.
The only thing left, but before we go into that story, the competition for the RFX Guerrero pound for pound edition, the big boys, is going, and it's going big, and people are strapping it on. Now, I'm going to give my 2 cents on the reviews that are coming in. Okay, there has been one that has been seen that is the front runner. Okay, we want 5-star reviews. We want 5-star reviews that are entertaining. Okay, I very much so love and respect the love that we've been getting, which is beautiful. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you,
Compliments about the
guys.
podcast. One person said that me and Streets have got dad personalities. I don't know what that means, but I'm all right with it because I am a dad. Streets is a dad as well. Whatever, fine. But can I just reiterate that a generic, really like the podcast, really like this, really enjoy listening to it, that's very nice. And if you put those in, respect. Thank you very much. But that's probably not going to win you. Okay?
Yeah. They're expensive gloves at the end of the day.
Yeah, expensive gloves. Yeah. I need to hear that you are listening to this podcast whilst in the white transit van, potentially doing a lick of people trafficking. I need to hear that you first started to listen to this podcast on the Lolita Express on the way to Epstein's Island. Right? I need to listen. I need to see the review that says I started to listen to this podcast whilst I was doing a deep, deep, deep dive into Tower 7, 9/11, and my research shows that the towers are still standing. It's all a hologram. That's going to put you in contention. Okay? You have been warned. There's still a month remaining because that
If we're not
ends on the
arrested by then or
17th.
on some fucking register.
No, man's got links, you know. We're all right. Look, as long as we get the neon sign here, we're covered. Yeah.
Saying not a doctor.
Look, you got one of them. Look, we're spiritual. Anywho, the last piece of news for the week:
Yes.
Canelo.
Yeah.
It's not a small lawsuit that he's whipped out to DAZN and Golden Boy, is it? I would say that that's probably the end of the relationship with Golden Boy, but probably not DAZN, because him and Oscar have not been vibing for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I read a thing which kind of makes a lot of sense where there's different contracts in play because obviously DAZN can't deal direct with Canelo. They're going through Golden Boy. And as a result of that, there's one contract with Golden Boy and DAZN and a contract with Canelo and Golden Boy. And those two contracts are different. So they're saying that potentially Golden Boy promised things that Canelo would do that aren't in his version of the contract that DAZN got. Ooh. So that's why apparently, which I really want to see whether this is 100% confirmed, but the report that I saw said that they were obviously Yildirim, they didn't want to go for his because he's guaranteed his 36 mil just to get in the ring.
Yeah.
But Billy Joe and Callum Smith are on that list as well for people that they wouldn't accept. That's harsh, man. Like to say that they're not top tier fighters, like
premier.
Yeah. I think so. I can see why he'd be a bit dirty about that. I mean, Yildirim, no disrespect to him, but come on. Like we said with the competition, it's expensive. This is a lot of fucking money where, to be fair, that's where the money comes. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's got to be.
From what I read as well, DAZN and Golden Boy, they, especially on the DAZN side, they did try and make a little bit of compromise, right? They did stay for
Yeah,
Yildirim, for the Yildirim fight to happen. We're obviously not going to give you 35 bar, but we will drop you 17 bar.
yeah.
Now, I listen. If you're going out your way to try and, I mean, you can only assume that the Canelo camp want to come back end of the year, get him in training camp, get him all the way moving through with a vicious KO, like an easy night's work that ends with, you know, him making the news and reasserting himself as the premier person in boxing, blah blah blah. Right? Take your 17 mil. It's not exactly a hardship. He's not short the cash, right? And I just
I mean,
I know it's a principle matter. If you sign for 35, but no one expected a pandemic to be coming around and really ballsing things up, did they?
but also the court, it's not like the court is for that 35. It's 280 mil. He's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
large.
He's
He's
going.
like, I
I'm
want the
assuming.
rest of the
Yeah,
contract, the 8 fights or whatever that I haven't done. I
yeah.
want that shit. And it's like, man, if you're going to do that, you almost certainly have to launch Canelo Promotions and work under that, because what promoter is then going to, I mean, obviously it's Canelo, so
He's
you
already
know,
got that,
but
right?
fuck it. Yeah, well, yeah, but he, I think, can't work under it because he's
Mm,
got, so it's like a, not Ponzi scheme, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
Golden Boy has him and then he could do the people next, but it's still
yeah.
feeding into Golden Boy. But 280 mil as
You would
like,
assume that the Canelo team, Wuhan, has got Mexico's top. Yeah, I mean, you would assume that they have the elite of the elite legal representation for the biggest sports star in probably the Americas, right?
oh, for
Well,
sure.
no, South, like Central and South down. I would say he's got to outrank most, if not all, Latin footballers. There's probably a few of the NFL,
Oh, you're talking
MLB,
athlete. Sorry, I thought you
like
meant boxers. Like,
as a
yeah, for sure.
sportsman, as an
Yeah, right, right.
entity. Like he must have, you know, top tier legal reps that have looked at this and gone, you've actually got a case here.
Oh, for sure, because you know it probably wouldn't list an act of God or whatever
No,
as a thing, because largely it is the COVID thing, and he's like, well, it's not in my contract that I have to take less, so
yeah,
I don't want less. I'm speculating. That's what the reports said, where they can see that being a sticking point, and also the two different contracts where
mm,
ordinarily, you know, us could probably go and kind of get in his ear, and it wouldn't even be a sticking point really. But
they're beefing.
as you guys will hear on Wednesday night with our guest that we had, we were lucky enough to hear a
Yeah,
story about a pissed off Mike Tyson, which you guys will hear. And that's how things happen when one person is expecting one thing, but it's been signed off as something else. That's how problems occur. So it looks like a bit of this has happened. And it's just a shame. You know, you don't want another Mikey Garcia
what being
top
held out
ranked
the
thing.
ring and
But
fucking
yeah,
mugging them
yeah,
off for
you
two
just
years.
lose years of your career. And
That's the
he's
problem with this, right? Because you have Canelo, like, you know, love him or hate him, he is a spectacular fighter. He really is. He is an
absolutely.
absolute fucking legend. Holding him up for a year, 2 years, because he's now in probably the start of his peak.
Yep.
Yeah, you're now dealing with.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. Like you know, there's always been talk about the third Triple G fight. There's the Billy Joe fights, the Callum Smith fight. There's enough fights for him out there in the weights that he's ranging around in for him to really, really solidify himself as you know, one of the all time greats. Let's not have him. I mean, I would assume that that's why they're throwing out the big guns, because you throw out a suit for 280 mil. Golden Boy haven't got that to pay out.
Yeah.
DAZN, I would be very surprised because you know DAZN have had a lot of issues. There's apparently
Big
DAZN
problems.
UK is being trialed at the minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I would assume that that means everything that's not on Sky Sports is on DAZN UK.
Because I know it basically the day that Canelo announced his court case,
Mm,
they downsized massively. They started getting rid of a bunch of people. And I think I mean it's pretty much tied in with him on the boxing side of things,
Yeah.
right? You know, they do
Well,
have,
him,
but it's
they've
largely
got big names, right? They've got Danny Jacobs, they've got Triple
yeah.
G, they've got Canelo, which basically was like the majority of the bank
Exactly.
balance.
That's where the cash went,
Yeah,
right? So if
yeah,
you're then facing losing that, that's a that's your Aztec death whistle right there.
yeah. It's a shame. It's
Yeah,
a shame,
it
but
really is.
you know, you never know the real story with this stuff, do you?
Oh, absolutely not. That's why we say we're like we do the best we can, and that's why we're really trying with the guests to hear these things from the
Yeah,
source.
from the actual inside.
With some of it, it's just like we're basing it on the news reports we get. So let's see how this plays out. But I really just hope it doesn't result in him being out of the ring because fucking Canelo and like to me at first, I was obviously the first time I saw him, I was like, Jesus Christ, look at this ginger-haired Mexican guy beating the fuck out of people. And then the way it grew, I was because I was on the Triple G side of things. I was like, oh
Yeah.
man, he's getting an easy ride. People are fighting at Canelo weight and da 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 da. But it's hard to hold anything against him, man. He just proves it over and over again. He
does.
comes for war. He's constantly improved. Since Floyd, he's
Yeah.
like leaps and bounds. You can't hate that. Do you know what I mean? The way he
Not
goes
at
to
all.
the body, the way he puts together combinations, fucking
He's a
that
great
head
fighter. Like
movement.
I still say Triple G beat him twice. First time comfortably 8-4. Second time a lot closer, but I still think Triple G edged him out. I'm not angry at the second decision. First decision was like a
Yeah,
piss
first
take.
decision was a robbery.
Yeah.
I was there, and even as I said, like it was loud as hell from all the Mexican fans, and even the
Yeah.
Mexican fans were like booing and
Yeah.
stuff. The second one, like
Less.
yeah,
But I still
and to be fair, I can see that.
Me too.
What worries me is the third one. I see just being. I absolutely want to see it, and I want Triple G to get that payday, but I do worry that
Yeah.
the decline has
Well, he's
started. Do you know what I
39,
mean?
isn't he, next
He
month?
does because he deserves that hand being right. I think so. I think it's like 38.
He's older than us.
Yeah,
I think he's 39 end of this month, I think.
You know what I mean? It's just like he deserved to have his hand raised, and I'm just worried the third
Yeah.
time is not going to be the time.
Yeah.
So I'm torn on that, but definitely want to see that fight because those boys have chins of steel. They hit each other with the fucking kitchen sink, and they didn't take a backward step. So
Yep. I think that's it for today.
I think that's it.
This week we've got a history ep with Jack Johnson that got delayed due to 2 guests last week. We got a guest on Wednesday. Huge. Couple of solid stories. Hard not to absolutely love him, and he's already my new internet friend. I've DM'd him afterwards. Then there was another one, wasn't there? There might be another guest on Wednesday, hopefully. Just waiting to
We're gonna
confirm
fingers
that one.
crossed.
Dece. And then this week, I think it's a little bit light on the fights, but next week is big. This week, bit light. Maybe we do a second history ep. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
history ep,
what do you want? We're
Yeah.
doing. We're pumping out like 2-3 a week. You know what I mean? It's
Solid.
not bad. It's not bad
Thank you
innings.
so much, our fucking guests, man, because they
Yeah.
have been quality after quality.
Yeah.
Big love to you
Anyone?
guys. And again, thanks for listening.
Anyone that didn't hear the Tyler episode, if you thought that you would not warm to the man, I would just say try it. It's hard not to genuinely love him, and it's also hard not to love Russ. Russ
Mate.
is like the uncle I've always wanted.
Fuck yeah.
What a guy! Like both of them, amazing guys.
Yep.
Like whatever. We'll both of them have said that they want to come back on. We would love to have them both
Can't
back
wait.
on. Can't wait. You know.
Next guest, you guys see, you love him as well. And let's keep it coming.
Xbrain.co.uk for your cure for COVID, which, as we know, is CBD oil or any on-it supplement or protein or whatever. Don't get the Rona. Get CBD oil. Coffee Combat saves you 30%. The glove competition is on
On
fire.
and popping.
And like I said, channel your creativity. Funnel it. Make it so Streets reads that and goes, there is no way that the Apple algorithm is allowing that one to go through. Right? I personally want to be surprised that it's made it through. That's what I want. And, you know, if you put a 4-star review in, make sure you say at the bottom why 4 stars. And it better say something along the lines of, I just want you guys to keep working. Which, fine. Otherwise, don't be a dick. Do 5 stars. It helps. Like, rate, subscribe, review. Tell your friends. We do not intend on going down the clicking the monetization route on our host. We want to do it old school. We want to do it our way. We want to do it word of mouth. We want to do it with sponsors that we want to work with. And I don't think it's too much to ask for me and Streets to make 5 to 10 to 15 grand a month for sitting in our flats talking shit. Right? I don't think that's that much to ask.
The minimum.
Yeah. I've come from boomer parents. They do absolutely nothing for me other than the property portfolio and the stock portfolio and the inheritance and the trust fund. And basically, I don't have to work. But I just want my own money from other people giving it to me for me doing absolutely little. And Streets feels the same, right?
That's right.
That memorabilia doesn't buy itself behind. These pictures do not buy themselves, right? You know what I'm saying? Up here, I need some more bric-a-brac. That is a mermaid that my daughter's painted for me.
Aww.
Streets, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Love you too, baby. Signing out, guys. See you later.
Bye.